Hey guys, this is Daniel Davis, Who viewer, and again, this is another Doctor Who Series 8 blog with Rhodri Coleman, aka LafTrack. And you may notice we are not inside for this story, we are, in fact, outside. And yeah, surprisingly it's very sunny. Get that very rarely in Wales.
Yeah.
So,
Make sure you make the most of it.
so we are outside to talk about Into the Dalek, written by Phil Ford and Stephen Moffat. Now, I think before I want to talk about this, I think we should talk about the Daleks in general with the new series.
Yes.
I would say, I think so far, they have become a bit boring.
Yeah. Plus, there was something I wanted to address because they had a bit of a redecoration when it came to during Matt Smith's time as the Doctor, didn't they?
Yeah, the Paradigm Daleks.
Yes. Why didn't those come back? I was surprised that they went from the Gold Daleks to the redeck or back to the Gold Daleks.
I think it was probably because of fan backlash, because I never liked the Paradigm Dalek designs. And I think also because, again, I think the reason why I feel they've become repetitive is because of the fact that they've appeared every single series, and because they can't, and because, I think it's because of, again, the reason why they become repetitive is because of this clause they have, the BBC have. Because when Doctor Who came back in 2005, the Daleks were owned by the Terry Nation estate. For those of you who don't know, Terry Nation was the man who had created the Daleks, and he got the rights back to the Daleks when the show got cancelled in 1989. And so when Doctor Who came back, and the BBC had to ask for the rights to use the Daleks, and Terry Nation's estate had said, we will only allow you use of the Daleks if they appear every single series. So essentially they've dug themselves into a hole there, because if they come back constantly every year, they're
People are gonna get sick of it.
Yeah, I know. It's not like the 60s when we were, amazed by these fantastic creatures. We know what the Daleks can do, and they become rather boring in these later years. But we got a new Doctor, so let's see if we can do anything different with the Daleks. And I think overall the story was quite good.
Yeah, I did quite like this whole angle of trying to see inside the technology of the Dalek itself. Yeah.
So basically the whole plot of it is that the Doctor and Clara end up on a sort of hospital where they've got one Dalek that is supposedly, gone good, but that's... So the Doctor and this team of scientists have to go inside the Dalek to try and fix the problem and find out what is wrong with the Dalek. And that's really the whole thing about it, but there are small elements that do make it work. First of all, let's talk about Peter Capaldi in this story.
Yes. I quite liked Peter Capaldi in this because it shows him as a bit more of a sort of darker Doctor.
Yeah, I know.
Than
He
usual.
he wasn't given much of a chance in Deep Breath.
No, but I think with this one it kind of showed a bit more of a difference between him and previous Doctors in the new series.
Yeah.
And I really liked it.
Yeah.
I think it was I liked this change to the Doctor when it came to Peter Capaldi's performance.
Yeah, he had some great lines. I think one of my favourites was with Clara. Saying, this is Clara, she's not my assistant, I'm his carer. Yeah, she's my carer, she cares so I don't have to.
Yes, I love that line.
That was a brilliant line. I also, because again, he is really dark, because he does flat out murder again in this one. When they're inside the Dalek, and you've got the antibodies are surrounding this one character, Ross.
Yeah.
Ross, and he basically says, basically asks this guy to trust him, that he's going to save him, but he does, just gives him this, the pill, and it does pretty much kill him to the antibodies.
No, No, it's not that the Doctor kills him. The Doctor knows he's going to die anyway.
Yeah,
he just tries to help out all the others.
Yeah.
Considering he just thinks, well, it's pointless trying to save you because you're a dead man.
Yeah, I know. But again, it is different because I think any other Doctor, like David Tennant or Matt Smith, they would have worked.
They would have tried to. To save him.
Yeah. The one thing about sort of Capaldi's Doctor that I wasn't entirely fussed on, and I mean this is a nitpick,
right.
But when he was saying about the impossibilities of there ever being a good Dalek, that I feel the whole message that there has never been a good Dalek, it's impossible for them to be good, doesn't work in what we've learned in the show's continuity, because this sort of thing has happened twice in the show's history. In Dalek, for example, the Dalek in that story, that sort of became good, didn't it? When it sort of took the Rose's DNA. And in Evil of the Daleks, Patrick Troughton's Doctor, he pretty much made 3 good Daleks in that story. He fought to get those Daleks to be good and set up this whole civil war against the Daleks.
Right.
So I think for them to say that there has never been a good Dalek just doesn't really work.
Yeah, I see your point.
Yeah. It seems too heavy-handed. And again, sort of Clara. Not really much you can say, really.
No, Clara wasn't exactly given that much in this episode, I don't feel.
No. I think
the only thing with Clara that they were trying to sort of use is him getting into this new character, Pink.
Oh yeah,
the soldier, Danny Pink, the soldier.
Yeah, at Coal Hill School. That was quite nice. The fact that she is a teacher now at Coal Hill School.
Yeah.
Nice, and I think Danny looks to be quite an interesting character.
Yeah.
Because
it'd be interesting to see if they actually do get him along as a companion and see how
I
sort of acts. Because the Doctor, as said in this episode specifically, he hates soldiers.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out how.
I know. I've heard that he could become a new companion. So that
I definitely see it.
Yeah, I know. Interesting.
Being a possibility.
Yeah, the soldier sort of angle and how he was and how he acts. So it should be rather cool.
Yeah.
And there's also the idea about the whole, and we got all the soldiers.
Yeah.
Soldiers, Morning Blue, Gretchen.
Journey Blue.
What was it?
Yeah, it was Journey Blue.
Morning. I think Morning Blue was the captain.
Yeah, Morning Blue and then Journey
Blue. Interesting. I'm kind of surprised you didn't recognise Morning Blue. He's the he was in World's End. The World's End.
Yes. I knew I recognised him from somewhere.
He played the Reverend.
Yeah, he played the Reverend Green. I remember it now. Yes, that's where I recognised him from. Because I knew Journey Blue from that series on E4 and Channel 4. I forget what it is. Fresh Meat. I recognised. I knew fully well I recognised her from Fresh Meat. I was trying to figure out where was Morning Blue known from. Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Like, I will say there was another thing that kind of sort of got me thinking. Really, was the moment. Okay, the whole plot of theirs is for them to go inside the Dalek and fix it.
Yeah.
Why do they suddenly act surprised and angry at the Doctor when they fix it? It goes back to being bad. What did they think was going to happen?
I really don't get it. Because essentially he did what he told them to do.
Yeah.
He fixed the Dalek.
Yeah.
Stop getting angry at him. He did exactly what you wanted.
Yeah. It just didn't. It was just head scratching. And again, Gretchen, who dies.
Yeah.
Dies, but then meets up with Missy.
Yeah. Not exactly that much further into the whole who the hell Missy is.
I'm guessing this is going to be a regular thing throughout this series.
And like a big reveal at the end.
Somebody's going to die. and they're going to end up with Missy, who essentially it's heaven, really.
Yeah.
So again, we still don't know anything about Missy. People are still leaning on the whole idea that she's the master.
I don't like that idea.
Another one I kind of realised, I didn't pick this up until this week when I looked back on her, that the actress playing Missy, Michelle Gomez, is Miss Pickwell from Jack Whitehall's Bad Education.
Oh.
So, I mean, that caught me by surprise, because I love Bad Education. I think it's really funny, and Pickwell is a brilliant, sarcastic character. She is. So, she can be funny.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go with this. But I think the main thing to talk about here is the Dalek.
Yeah, the Dalek.
And the Daleks as well. I'm happy with what they've done with the Daleks.
Yeah, I like the whole new angle of trying to going through a Dalek and looking at how it works a bit more.
Yeah.
And a bit more in detail with the species itself.
Yeah.
And I like this whole angle because I haven't really seen that much of how a Dalek can be good apart from Dalek, which was in the Christopher Eccleston series.
Yeah.
And I really liked how they turned this one with it wanting to turn on its own kind.
Yeah, which again was something that happened in Evil of the Daleks. Although to be fair, the Daleks in that story, they were good, but they were more like they acted more like children in a way. They were like children behaving. But there was one other good thing I liked about the Daleks in this story. We have a body count.
Yeah.
The Daleks are actually killing again, which we haven't seen for God knows how long. We haven't seen the Daleks kill anyone ever since Matt Smith started.
Yeah.
They haven't killed anyone, have you noticed?
No. Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
When you think about it.
Yeah, I know. So it's nice the fact that they're actually saying, that they are actually going around killing people.
It's weird, that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I've never been happy to see people die.
This is like the only one time.
Yeah.
The only one time you can actually say, people died. I'm happy.
Yeah. Although to be fair, I think they did get a bit repetitive, constantly shouting "exterminate." I mean, I know it's their catchphrase, but they don't need to shout it every single time they fire their guns. Yeah. And people have sort of got this whole culture of the fandom has been based now around Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty the Dalek.
And people are sort of wanting him now to come back.
Yeah, it would be nice to see it to have Rusty come back. I think.
I know. I think it is quite an interesting concept in a way, because I like how he's driven. What makes him good was essentially the Doctor's hatred for the Daleks. That's what drives him. That's what drives him to become good, which is not what the Doctor wanted, really. Because, I mean,
he wanted a bit more of a peaceful.
I know. I loved that moment.
Peaceful Dalek.
I love that moment when after he kills all the Daleks, and he says the Daleks are exterminated. The Doctor's just like, of course they are. That's what you do, isn't it? Brilliant line that is. Yeah. I gotta say, I don't know why I laughed at this, but I did laugh at that moment when Rusty goes in killing the Daleks, and you get that one Dalek going, "Under attack from a Dalek!" I don't know why that's funny.
I know, it's just the sheer confusion in his voice. You can feel the what the hell is going on?
This is bloody ridiculous. Why is my Dalek Welsh? There was one other thing. Again, I don't know why this is another thing that if I felt forced was at the end when they got. We saw them at the end, and he says, this is victory, but you don't seem happy. That doesn't look good to you. And he says, victory would have been a good Dalek. and he says, "I am not a good Dalek. You're a good Dalek." Even though that's a brilliant line, I think it makes it too obvious what the message is.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think that line needed to be said. It could have just been done with a look.
Yeah.
A lot of people have also sort of said, a lot of people have gone against this episode because of the fact that the end of the episode was altered from when it was leaked to when it was actually transmitted.
Oh, what was the difference?
In the original ending, when Rusty goes,
Right.
he goes back on the Dalek ship. In the original ending that people saw and read in the script, when Rusty gets back on the Dalek ship, he self-destructs it.
Ah.
And a lot of fans were sort of confused as to why that ending was cut. And but it does sort of open it up a bit more for Rusty's return to the series.
Because given those two endings, I would have preferred if they had cut the self-destruct, because it does give Rusty a chance to come back and possibly make a good character for himself.
Yeah, and plus if they did go the route of destroying the Daleks, we would have been just like, oh great, another mass genocide. How long have we got to wait till the next time they come back to supposedly return?
Yeah.
And so that's really all we can talk about with this story. I will say, overall, it was very good.
Yeah, it was definitely a good episode.
Yeah, I would say,
in my opinion.
but I think for me, I would have liked it better if it had been in later in the series.
Because?
I don't know, I don't know, I feel that especially with the message of the Doctor's, am I a good man? Message. Because for me, the message of the am I a good man, I think that would have been better if it had come later, because we don't know what this Doctor is like.
Yeah, because that whole little angle, it sort of seems like something that it would be put in like mid-series.
Yeah,
like with
because
the whole
because we don't know what this Doctor is like yet.
Yeah.
We don't know if we haven't seen that middle ground yet.
Yeah, the whole like mysterious, small little, detailed angle usually comes in around about mid-series, like with Matt Smith's series with the episode with the Gangers, and they had that whole little small little details and stuff, and then it ended up with a big reveal at the end. That small little "Am I a good man?" Little edge sort of felt like it should be a mid-series thing.
Yeah, and also I'm not fussed on having the Daleks come into the series so early.
Yeah.
For a new Doctor. It doesn't I don't know why, it just feels like it's too forceful to try to grip people into it. Because I mean, it's only ever worked once.
Yeah.
For me, and that was with Power of the Daleks, Patrick Troughton's first story. I think there it worked because it was the first regeneration. People weren't sure about this new Doctor.
Yeah.
So I think it's obvious to have him up against his most mortal enemies in his first story makes sense. But because by this point we're so used to it, I think it would have been better. I think the message would have been stronger if, like, this episode was about episode 5 or 6, like Dalek was. Because Christopher Eccleston didn't face the Daleks until
about mid-series.
Yeah, until episode 6, and Tennant didn't fight them until the final of series 2.
Yeah.
So I think the message would have been stronger if it had come in at a later time.
Yeah.
That doesn't hinder our enjoyment of the episode. It's just something. It's just something to think about.
Yeah, it feels like it was placed in at the wrong time, because usually between 2 and 4 are usually the kind of not that bad but not that good episodes, the sort of mediocre ones, and then mid-series and end series are the sort of really, really good payoff ones.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes you think that it should have been placed there.
Yeah, I know, because that's when they've set the ground for what they're gonna do, and we understand it.
Yeah. Plus, the Daleks are essentially the Doctor's biggest enemies, the series' most well-known enemies. of all time.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to have them to wait a while and have them towards the end or mid-cart, but not at an episode that people, because of the way it's as the time it's placed, people might not care that much about.
No, because we've seen the Daleks. There's not really much we can... But overall, what is your vote for this episode?
Overall, I would say that it was quite good, and I'd probably give it an 8.
Yeah.
It makes sense, because it's not really that much deserving of a 9 or a 10, because it wasn't, that good. Not specifically, like with specific points. It didn't feel like, this grand episode or anything, because essentially it's just episode 2.
Yeah.
But it was still a really, really good episode, and I think it's well deserving of an 8.
Yeah. I would give it a 7.5 or an 8 as well for those sort of same reasons. So, thanks for watching this, guys. Tune in next week where we're going to be looking at Robots of Sherwood, written by Mark Gatiss. So, already I have high expectations for this one.
I know. This is going to be a very different episode.
Yeah. So, thanks for
watching. Until then, guys.
See ya. It's like,
oh god, now I'm just imagining a Welsh Dalek now. You will be exterminated! Resistance is futile!
It's like, everybody, Sospanva. That's the new Dalek anthem. Sospanva. Just a Lord of Dalek singing Welsh hymns.
I know.